What's going on, guys? Logan JYA here with our boy, fellow Drykage, Jordi Wang, gonna be showing us some absolute gas Drytron lists. He played a whole gauntlet of events the past few weeks, and he has been topping all of them, apparently. So, outside of making me feel washed, he is showing the universe what this deck does, and of course he's making us all extremely proud. So, Jordi, first and foremost, how are you doing?
Amazing and unbelievable to be able to test different variety of Drytron just before our European Championship, which is like your nationals, but
Right.
from Europe.
Do you
And
anticipate topping this one as well?
if I get lucky and I don't break, yeah, maybe.
Well, you know the deal, my brother. Do you want to give any shout-outs before we hop into not one, not two, but three different Drytron lists?
Yeah. So well, to start off, thank my current team attorney, my ex-team, Team Purple Haze, and all those who lent me cards throughout these three events. Paul, Abde, Ramon,
Abde,
Carlos.
shout out to my
Uh,
boy. I love that
yeah,
guy.
yeah. So yeah, I've been just borrowing cards from everywhere. Like, cause it was last minute, I was preparing three different lists that I wanted to, limit test with Drytron. Gain a little more point of view on what is working better and what is, a better substitute. But yeah, I'll explain my tech choices for each of them.
Perfect. All right, without further ado, let's hop into the first list. I'm going to go through the cards and I'll ask questions as we go up with them. And apologies, guys, that we're doing it on DB. Camera wasn't working with us today, but that's all right, homies. If anything, it's going to make it an even more seamless transition. But you're going to want to stick around for the whole video so you don't miss a single smidge of what Jordy's got to say about each one of these lists. So without further ado, let's hop into it. First list, 46 cards, triple alpha, triple zeta, double gamma, double delta. We're doing the golden ratio on this one, baby. Back to 10 names. Love to see it. And then triple droll in the main. We'll talk about that in a minute. We got triple diviner, the one Chaos Valk, the one Lancia, and the one Fairy Tale Snow. I'll go through the ritual monsters real quick. We got Draco Nids, Magic Key, Natasha, Ida 10, and Double Ben 10 to bring out the monsters to a close. The most important thing here that I feel the need to commentate on right off the bat is the Droll and Lockbird in the main. I've seen people doing this. How did it function for you in the event that you played this particular list at? And would you play it in future builds?
So, out of every single hand trap, my only choices were actually Flag Taylor, DD Crow, and Droll. The main reason is because if it's kind of similar to how all the punk or break decks or base decks work, where the hand trap is both interruption and also starter. So many times throughout the event, I actually normal summon the Droll to make a Mew Beta and then make a Zeus when going second, right? Because it depends on what I play against, and I was anticipating a lot of Flunder because it won the Spanish Nationals, and it's picking up a lot of trend here. So, testing and then more or less analyzing with my team, we were like, okay, we think Roll in Drytron is probably one of the better tech choices. They thought it was terrible. They thought it should be side or just don't play it. But I decided to main it, and I actually played two Mirror in the first event, I think. And I actually drew one of them, and it was like, okay. They went first. After they searched Ben, I was like, draw, and they were like, are you fucking kidding me? and, and I was like, oh, nice. And then just full combo next turn, and then they scoop, right? Draw was actually really amazing. It kind of hurts Punk if they don't draw well enough. But obviously, if they have enough, extenders, they can still end on Scythe Lock with Hoggy Fibrax.
Right.
But I remember I played against one of the ex national champion from Spain. He made a full combo, and I just made Draconids. I didn't boost it to 5,000. I attacked 4 monsters, and I OTK'd him. So, I don't know. I feel like Sideblock just doesn't hurt the deck as much because we have Draconids and other Natasha and other access to breaking boards.
Definitely. Makes sense to
Um,
me. And if it's okay if I hop on something real quick, because I remembered I
mhm.
want to ask you about this too. I see the Fairy Tale Snow in here, and I know you and I have talked about this card in the past, and I've been talking with
Yeah.
other people recently about Fairy Tale Snow and Drytron. My one gripe with it, of course, obviously you can send it off Riser, you can send it off Beatrice,
Yep.
but you have to have the fodder for it, right? And,
Yeah.
in an ideal world, we're not really banishing our Drytron. So I wanted to see how well this fit into the end goal for you, and if you ever found it difficult to banish cards for snow.
Um, so my theory is because my end board, as you can see, there's not like a huge like tech. There was no Jordi update lock or any kind of like big lock, right? My end board is actually super simple. I go Mu Beta with one material, one magic key, and the counter trap, and then I do a Palooza for 3 to 4, and basically I set up a 4 to 5 negates, straight up, and then having all my resource ready for OTK next turn. And Fairy Tale Snow just serves as a anti-breaking board, right? Interruption where if they don't kill you, next turn you kill them.
Right.
And in this build, I actually don't make Beatrice. I actually make Shooting Razor, and then Send. I was actually thinking about playing 2 Herald, because I would send Fairy Tale Snow, make Shooting Razor level 3, and I could synchro with another one, with any Drytron to make another Herald of Arclight. It serves as a negation, and I get to add another Benton or something, right, for the follow-up turn. But at the end, it was just easier to stack up Grave, and then just make Shooting Riser, and then into Appaloosa, and then just stack. You basically have more cards in your grave as a banish material, and I almost never banish any Drytron. It's just enough for once. But like when you start like playing through, one snow is enough to like stop them and win you the game.
Got it. One and done gets the job done. Fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
On that note, let's slide into the spell lineup. I'll go through this quick. We got the 1 Harpies, same thing that Miles was doing. The 1 Foolish, triple Prep, 1 Meteonis, triple Emergency, triple Nova, triple TTT, 1 Galaxy Cyclone, 1 Call By, and then triple Droplets. So, and I'll just throw in the Magic Key Trap here because we're not going to talk about that at all. It goes with this. If you don't know what that does, you can go watch my profile on my Philly list, and there's a billion other profiles that play the Magic Key builds. You can read that card there. But I want to talk for a second here. The one thing that I really thought this deck attributed greatly was, the Beatrice toolbox. And like you said, also, you're sending the Snow off Riser. You can also send it off Beatrice. But the Galaxy Cyclone here is what really caught my attention with that, because this is another card you can send off Beatrice, and it's just free value. It's an out to Mystic Mine if the need arises. So I love to see that. How did it function for you during the tournament?
It won me directly against Eldritch and a Blunder Mystic Mine Turbo. So obviously game 1 blind I can't, but it's always to have an out. And also if I have enough resource, I actually make Beatrice, and depending on what they play, sometimes I end on Beatrice, right? I send like Delta and Mountain turn to have 1 extra extender.
Right.
If my end board is strong enough, then Beatrice is there kind of like a bait, and the moment they activate something that I know I cannot play through, that I directly, like a plan B, I just send Galaxy Cyclone. Against Eldritch, they flipped Skill Drain, and they forgot I sent Galaxy Cyclone at the start of their turn. And next time I literally just pop the Skill Drain and then just OTK. Same with Mystic Mine. I remember Plunder did Mystic Mine, chain Beatrice, then Galaxy Cyclone, and they were like, pass. And I was like, oh, interesting. They don't even know what Galaxy Cyclone is, because it's kind of an old card, right? Mm-hmm. And they didn't read, so next time I go draw, stand by May, Galaxy, pop, OTK.
They get absolutely obliterated.
Yeah, and I remember even hard drawing once, it wasn't that bad, because it was just pop a card, and next time I get an extra pop if they have like a field spell or any sort of lucky.
Right.
But I was even considering cutting Duster and just having 1 Galaxy Cyclone, because I can access it through Beatrice, which is such a broken card.
Agreed.
And we're pretty much the only meta deck right now that can like turtle into Beatrice and then make extended plays.
Right.
And Galaxy Cyclone is just 1 free dump. You're dumping a free out to you're getting a +1 basically.
Yes. Sometimes you just want to take a free dump. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Now, to transition real quick, and I know you and I were talking about this a little bit earlier, the triple tax. People who watch my stream or my videos may have heard that I've been recently testing this card, and I've been enjoying it for the most part, but I want to hear your take on it and what you thought of playing triple tax.
So, I bought TDT before it was reprinted. I bought it like 100 a piece. Never used a single event, because every time I use it in my locals, I brick with it. I either draw 0 or 3, or 2 to 3. And the entire regional, I didn't draw a single time until my last round. Game 1, I win. Game 2, I started 2 TDTs, and for my turn, my 6th card was the 3rd TDT. And I was so tilted. I was like, I'll never play this card again in Drytron. Like, I don't know, I'm cursed with talent. Like, this card just doesn't work.
You are cursed with talent, my friend, but not
No,
the triple tax.
not that. Like,
I know. But
TDT just doesn't work for me.
No, I get you, and it's like, it's not just, it goes beyond the superstition. It really is like, you know, that card, it can contribute to bricks, but when it works, it really puts in the work. So, I mean, I understand. It's a double-sided sword. It's a reactive card, so I can understand being opposed to it. And I know in other lists that you played, we'll have more to go over. Now, for the side and extra, I'm going to breeze through this, because this is stuff we've all mostly seen before. The triple lava.
Really standard.
Triple lava, I think this is almost like card for card what we're playing nowadays, with the this is card for card what I'm playing right now, with the exception of anti-spells. I was playing too evenly, but yeah, I already talked about this. I lost a game to my own anti-spell. My boy DT lost a game to his own anti-spell. We're just off that card right now, but you were telling me how it's won you games before, so I mean, you know, to each his own. Outside of that, we've got Triple Lava, 1 Token Collector, 1 Banshee, and the Zombie World. If you don't know what this does, just watch any of the other videos on my channel. Triple Twin, Triple Dark Ruler No More. This card's a Demon card, Dark Ruler No More. Mwah, I love that card. 2 Anti-Spells and 1 Red Reboot. I think we'll probably talk about changes in the side as we go through the list, if that's all right with you.
Oh, I just want to quickly mention
Sure.
2 things. One is Galaxy Cyclone. There was only one time throughout the 3 events where I used it to call my own anti-spell, because that happened to me too. And,
that's a good point. Never really thought about that.
Yeah, but it only worked out once, but it was enough to clutch it up and win the game. And the second thing is Magic Key Unlocking. Most people, I don't know if you use it, but the second part of the effect is actually really good too.
Broken against
You
Sky Striker.
declare. Well, but basically you declare 1 attribute, and for the rest of this turn, not just currently on enemy side of the field, but for the rest of the turn, all their monsters become the attribute. So what I do is, especially against Despia, I always call Divine, and basically they cannot make those fusion monsters that are like with light or dark, or light plus dark, you know.
Oh yeah.
So
I
they're
love
forced
that
to make
effect.
stuff like only Mirror Jade and maybe like Chimera, but like the other engine, the Despia engine, or the branded engine, they actually cannot access as much. It's not like a deal breaker, but it actually affects them enough so that they have to change their plays. And that happened to me every time I played against Despia, because I would literally just call the Divine.
I'm always all about the calling the Divine, unless it's against Striker, where you're calling Fire to lock him out of Kagari, or you're calling Water to lock him out of Shizuku. But yeah, big time love that. And then we went through the side. I'll talk extra real quick. We already mentioned things like, well, Entis and Herald are staples. We got the Shooting Riser, which you already talked about a little bit. The 1 Beatrice, 2 copies of Moy Beta, 1 Downard, 1 Zeus, Linkaribo, IP, Phoenix, Unicorn, Access Code, Apo, and Underworld Goddess. The one thing I want to flag here is that you're choosing to play the Access Code Talker, and I'll be honest, I didn't pay close enough attention to the other lists, but you know that I'm a fan of Boral Sword. What made you choose to play Access Code over Boral Sword?
So the main reason is because when I end on Masquerena, I basically have 3 targets. I have Unicorn to bounce a card, I have Appaloosa for make agents, and then I have Underworld Goddess. That's like huge, like power play in enemy turn. I remember those once against what's it called? I can't remember if it was Thunder or something. Yeah, but basically I did Masquerena and then I linked their monster out, and it was insane. It was just crazy. Yeah. It was against Thunder because when Appaloosa is summoned, it's a what's it called? Dark Ruler for all current monsters on your opponent's side of the field. And also it's unaffected. And it worked really well. Even though you don't have the free Grave Negation, but you take 1 out of player monsters and then just Dark Ruler their field in the enemy turn is actually way better than most people expect. And but yeah, basically I have 3 flexible summons with Masquerena. Access code is mostly just to synergize better with Unicorn.
Right.
Access code doesn't OTK as easily, but it can still OTK. And at the end, I was like, okay, if I'm just gonna do Natalia Turbo when I go second, then Link climbing with Unicorn to access code is just more efficient.
That's fair.
And I get to pop more cards.
That is true. I will credit that fact 100%. Access code cleaning up those cards can be big. Now, I think I don't have any more questions on this list. Before we move on to the next one, anything you want to say while we close this one out?
I'm not gonna play Talent anymore.
Fair. All right, we'll leave it at that. Let's slide into the next list. All right, guys, we got the second list with fellow Drykage, Jordi, Wang, and we are going to walk through this one real quick. Everything that's the same, I'm going to run through super duper fast, and then we get to the changes. We're going to talk about those. So, same golden ratio on the names. You can see them right there. Triple Droll still in the main for this build. We've got Triple Diviner, the one Chaos Valkyrie, the one Artifact Lancia up in here. Same ritual lineup as the last build. Spell lineup is looking very similar, but we swapped out those talents for the Dark Rulers. Very good. Jordi said he'd never want to play it again. He's never going to play it again. That's fair. All respect on there. Now, when things get crazy here, let's take a look at this side deck real quick. Everything here we got is the same. Token Collector, Banshee, Zombie World, Triple Twin. We put in the Evenlies. I'm a big fan of Evenly. Then we got Triple There Can Be Only One, and 2 anti-spells as well as the red reboot. So the first thing I want to talk about here, I think the main deck is pretty self-explanatory. The one big change being the talents to the Dark Rulers. Is there anything else about the main deck you want to flag?
So main deck, there's actually not that big of a change.
Okay.
Mostly it's just testing the side and the extra deck. But yeah, as you just mentioned, talent for Dark Ruler was so much better. Because I think I only won like 1 dice roll that day, and Dark Ruler came in super clutch, including one mirror match.
Yeah. I was gonna say in the mirror match is ridiculous, but I also wanted to flag that you're not playing Pot of Prosperity, which is totally cool. But I was wondering if there was any reason. Do you not like playing Pot of Prosperity? Like any reason for that?
So my concept is basically if I play extra deck heavy, then I need to rely. Not banishing what I need, right? So I would rather even max out on Delta than playing Prosperity.
That's
but that, for example, personally, I would only play Prosperity when I play like a Vanity Turbo build or a Herald of Perfection build. I think these are the only 2 decks that are very like that synergizes really well with Prosperity. But if you do like a lot of link climbing to break boards or set up boards, then I think it's like kind of too much of a risk to banish like almost a third of your extra deck just for, mill 6. I mean, mill 6 is obviously very, very good. But I think the cost when you start grinding, or if you don't set up a good board, then it's pretty high risk.
Gotcha.
And also, the main reason is because I still didn't get my hands on the Prosperity yet. It was only for the last event.
Gotcha. Well, we'll see it in a sec. But one other thing I want to ask about before we talk more about the There Can Be Only One is the Chaos Valkyrie in here. You are still playing it. It is great for extension and link climbing, as you previously mentioned, so it can help get you into the Apo and stuff. But I also wanted to flag that we're not playing Barone and we're not playing Abyss Dweller in this build, obviously because we're not playing Megaliths. But the Chaos Valk, did you ever brick on it? Was it always serving that good extender purpose? What were your thoughts on it?
So throughout the event, I think I've only searched Valkyria like once or twice to extend. Most of the time it's just going turbo into Natasha, Steel OTK turbo. So I never really had to go into Valkyria that fast. And sometimes when I go first, if my hand is decent, I just go for Lancia.
Right.
But for my standard combo, I actually searched Chaos Valkyria to have 1 extra extender to make a Palooza for 1 more material. Standard combo, yeah.
And that's
but if I know I'm playing, yeah. And if I know that I'm playing against Plunder, that I would rather have 1 less search and just go for Lancia.
Gotcha. Cool. All right, now let's talk side deck real quick here, because there's only one thing I want to talk about is the Tikaboos. And remind me real quick, the last event topped, which event did the last list top, and which event did this list top?
So both were third place.
Got it. Hey, still
Well,
topping, bro. Still topping.
oh, technically, okay. The first event, it was Swiss only, so it was a clean like third place. The second event was Top Cut, and it was like basically a lost semi, so it was like third, fourth place.
Got
Um,
it.
the third event is when I did better.
Got it. Okay. So we'll talk more about that in a minute. Now let's talk about this Tikaboo, bro. How was that?
Yeah. Oh, amazing! Because basically what I learned from my first regional this month, Valencia, there were so many Salmon Gray, Flunder, even Eldritch, and what bothered me the most was actually the Cyber's Turbo, where you basically make the enemy just makes heat soul and drops like 100 cards,
Yeah, I know that build.
and yeah, that was so annoying. Like it's beatable, but if you go first, even if you don't go full combo, like you just draw one TZ Boo, basically you win if it's Flunder, Salmon Gray, or Cyber's Turbo, Ade Nister, just so many decks.
It's like sneaking in a win button that people don't expect.
Yeah, because um, I've always liked having Floodgate and Drytron because the board is so strong. You float really well, right? And 99% of people will only set in cards to deal with the monster. So when you flip that like surprise back row, they lose because they don't have MST or Cosmic or stuff like that. No one's ever gonna set Red Ruby against Drytron, right? But because I might not draw the floodgate unless I go, okay, Jordi update locked and short. Then absolutely that I'm gonna flip and I spell or something like that. But 99% of the time, people go, droplet, dark rule, and stuff like that. So TZ Blue definitely worked really well against Flunder. I remember they did shifter and I was like shit, and then so I drew for turn. I set and I passed turn. Enemy drew for turn. They did first normal summon. I did TZ Blue and they're like shit. They passed turn, and then I just went full combo.
Easy. So free. Stay free. All right, I love your logic with the Tikaboo. Let's move on to the side deck, or the extra deck real quick here. The one thing that, Link Monsters took a little bit of a cut here, but outside of that, it's looking very similar to the last list. I'll point out the big changes. Riser got swapped for Black Rose, because we're going for more utility. We're not playing Snow anymore. And then my boy Fuko up in here. I'm a big fan of Fuko. You know I love it. I want to ask you, so how did Black Rose and how did Fuko perform? Because those are two of my favorite tech cards in the extra deck.
So, well, shout out to you and Justin, because this obviously was your tech. Black Rose was MVP. I think I did Black Rose like 5 times because no one ever, for example, what's it called? Against Espia, they would never do anything when you summon one Drytron name and Diviner. They're always like, go ahead. They always wait until you have 2 Drytron names, then they try to go Chimera, right? Or they go Mirror Jade after you summon the Mu Beta. Right. And that surprise, like, holy shit, you just blow the field, and they're like, oh fuck. And obviously, like, it depends because if they have a fusion summon Mirror Jade, then you don't want to blow it up. But most of the time they banish it and then recover it. So at that point it's actually safe to make Black Rose because they don't get your field at the end of the turn. And that actually won me so many games. I against one Eldritch, they flipped Mistake, Anti-Spell, and they had one Mirror Jade.
Oh no.
And I basically summoned Zeta because I hard drew Zeta and Benton.
Right.
I did summon Zeta, and then and normal. Oh, sorry, no, so sorry. I didn't draw Benton. I drew Diviner. Sorry, it was Zeta and Diviner. Yeah, and I did Black Rose right after that, and it was so amazing because I got rid of Anti-Spell and Mistake, and if they somehow stopped me, I had to go to game 3. So Black Rose was surprisingly amazing throughout the event. Fuko actually underperformed because I always make it under shifter. Like I can still make some plays on the draw,
right?
But under shifter, I'm like I make Fuko and the enemy just summons a what's it called, statue, and it still doesn't do anything. Like I still cannot play. So I need to kind of think about what I can do. Um, but yeah, for extra deck, it was pretty similar.
Right.
My build is actually a little better going second. When I go first, it's pretty much just setting up 5 to 6 negates. And if I have Droll, then it's pretty much like guaranteed to win against a lot of combo decks.
Right. I think Triff would be proud of all those negates.
Yeah, it was literally like 99% of people forget that Mute Beta negates when they think that it only has negate when you have a Drake on it, you know, a Drytron machine ritual, but it's actually very generic. So the synergy between Mute Beta and Betas, it's literally amazing. It's 2 spell trap negate. Yeah, I think every time I went first, they thought it was just 1 Appaloosa and 1 trap. I remember they impermanently right at the start of turn on my Apple, and I just did Mute Beta negate. And they're like, what the fuck? And they start reading through Mute Beta and then double checking everything on my field. I'm like, look at Betas. Yeah, he's machine.
Yeah.
This is a new boy in town, you know?
Yeah.
It synergizes so well with the deck, because so many times I would ritual summon, what's it called? Tributing the Betas from hand to summon Bantam from grave.
Oh, yeah.
And
then Gamma
like,
tribute it, and then, yeah.
Yeah, like, the whole synergy is just so amazing.
Absolutely. This guy is a Magic-y in name only. He's really a Drytron. Let's be real here.
Yeah. Like, I think this is, yeah, I played Betos in all 3 builds. Because right now I'm really loving it.
Well, on that note, let's switch over to our last build of the day, guys. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to smash that like button. Let's get into this last Drytron list with our boy Jordi. Alright guys, we took a major divergence for this final build. It may look familiar. You might have seen something like it in the hands of Mr. Justin Singh, who topped the YCS Hartford. We obviously play things similar to this, and it's I'm going to let Jordi do most of the talking after we go through some of these cards. But without further ado, let's hop into this amalgamation that really is a strong Drytron list. So without further ado, let's get into it. We are not doing the golden ratio. We are doing 10 names, though. It's 3, 3, 3, and then 1 delta. And again, I'm going to flag this at the start here. 1 delta, when you're playing Prosperity, a lot of people will do this, all right? So I'm not one of them, but a lot of people do that, and it's something I might consider doing in the future. Then we've got the 1 Lancia, 1 Orange, 1 Diviner, 1 Vanity's Ruler, which is the same lineup that pretty much any Vanity's Ruler Drytron player is doing nowadays. I think it was Mr. Baron who kind of made that a normal thing, and we've all been following in suit. Ritual lineup is, I think, the same this time around. We've got Beto, we've got Natasha, Ida, Double Ben, and our boy Draco Nids putting in that nice work. And that's going to a firm 20-card monster lineup, not counting the spells, of course. So, Jordi, we're doing Vanity's Ruler in this one. Do you want me to go through the rest of the cards and then we'll talk about the whole thing?
Well, first of all, like, shout out to, Justin. And also Nicholas, who just won the UK Nationals with Justin's build. He did modify Justin's build a little bit, and I kind of took a little bit of both, and then added some of my own choices.
Gotcha. On that note, we'll take a quick look through the spells. We've got the Harpies, shout out Miles, the Terraforming, the Ritual Sanctuary, the Medionis Drytron, triple of the Mystic Mine. Okay, alright. It's alright. Demon card, alright, guys? We gotta pay respects to Mystic Mine, one of the strongest going second cards in the game. Triple Cyber Emergency, triple Prep, double Nova, double Fafnir, triple Droplet. We'll talk about it, don't worry. Triple Droplet, Call By, Set Roto, triple Prosperity, and of course the Magic-y Trap. I want to hop in right here, right now. Double Nova, what are we doing here, Jordi? What's the deal with that?
So, in simple terms, I took Nicholas's build that won the UK National. I added the Duster, the Betos, and the Trap, and I added a third Mystic Mine because I figured I'm gonna lose most dice roll anyway, so I might as well have one extra possibility of drawing Mystic Mine when I go second. And that was literally, I think I won this event. I won the whole event, right? But throughout the day, I think I won 2 dice roll. I won Yeah, I think I won one in Swiss, and then my last round, and that was so clutch because the vanity ruler came in so clutch. If I have to summarize this build, no offense to Justin, but it's literally degen cancer to the max.
Agreed.
Because
Agreed.
Mystic Maya and Vanity is just like, okay, you know, your opponent doesn't draw out, let's go to the next game.
It's a very dirty build. It's very like I feel like I gotta wash my eyes after looking at this one. But it makes sense because we're playing so many demon cards, and there's no deck that can take advantage of it like Drytron. Like, let's just be real.
I think the only like really nice play that I did was setting up my whole board and then saving Prosperity for last and then digging 6. And I was like, okay, if I'm going first and I already set up everything that I got rid of, for example, the Zeus package with Nightingale, Black Rose, and basically it was enough so that I dig 6 into Anti-Spell, and that was my win con. Because I know that if I can go Vanity with Anti-Spell, then I'm not going to eat Mystic Mine.
Right.
And since I already have Betos on the field, I can go through Droplet. So that leaves basically my opponent having no outs.
Easy.
And yeah, it was insane.
That's
Like-
one thing that I love about Prosperity in this too, is digging for those side deck cards. Now, you're playing going first side deck cards, which is also massive, so I can totally understand it, but that's what Prosperity really means to me in Drytron, is finding those side deck cards, or finding that going second piece when you need it, or you got a 1-name hand, turn it into a 2-name hand, just like that.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, like this build, it overperformed. It performed way better than I expected because I was like, oh, one Vanity seems so fragile. Like, is it
No, it
really
ain't.
going to win me?
It
when I
really
set it up
isn't.
with Mirage- yeah, like, I think this deck definitely has to play 3 preparation rights because the chances of you, even if you draw 2 copies, is fine. One for Benten, one for Betos, and then you just focus on the other stuff, right?
Right.
Like, since everyone would always ask my alpha, like having 3 makes it's almost a guarantee that you can go both Betos and Vanity's ruler. Yeah, like that Embor sounds simple, but it's so impressive. It's
For
insane.
sure.
So yeah, big shout out to Justin. His concept is simple and impressive. Like, go first Vanity, go second Mystic Mine, and he's absolutely right.
All right,
I
that's
had
it.
a little doubt, but after testing it, watching my opponent try, like, scooping this fast, it's like, okay, this is a win con.
That's it. I'm doing it. I'm building this build. I might not do the anti-spells just because of my bad past experiences, but I'm gonna play this build going at the next event. This looks like too much fun. This looks right up my alley. But on that note, let's swing into the side deck and extra real quick. The side deck, there's really one notable thing I want to talk about here. So you see our usual Lava Golem token, Dark Ruler, Twin, Anti-Spell, and the Red Reboot. Our boy Angel 07, a fairy 2 tribute monster in the same vein as Vanity's Ruler, only he locks out both players from monster effects. Talk about this, bro. This was your idea. I want to hear about it.
Yeah. So I found this card like a long time ago, but it was never a good meta, good timing to run it until when Flunder became so popular, especially in Spain. So Vanity obviously doesn't do anything against them. I thought about playing the standard zombie world, right? The Banshee zombie world combo. It's decent, but the thing is, if you want to go full combo, that means you have to go through Diviner, and whether you go first or second against them is actually not ideal. So for me, Angel 07 is the alternative lock against Flunder, mostly Flunder. Literally, like, my entire game plan was just, okay, when I go first against Flunder, I summon this and they're not playing.
Right.
And I need to make the Twin Twister just in case they Mystic Mine me. And that's pretty much what happened. Like, I went first, I summoned Angels. I literally special all my Drytron and then just sit on the Angel 07 pass. Like, my board was full of monsters. Because I cannot activate monsters after I have Angel 07, unless I link it away. But I don't want to.
Right.
So they couldn't do anything, they passed turn. And then I just switched everything to attack and OTK. And it was scary. I think it's scarier for them, for Flunder, because this is the real lock, this is way worse than statue. I'm like, fuck you, statue. You know, this is the real Big Daddy.
Yeah, this is my boy. He's coming in here to put in the work. Dude, I'm literally gonna buy a copy of this when we're done with this video. I love it. Alright, and then let's talk extra deck real quick here. I can relate to this extra deck immensely. But without further ado, let's get into it. Of course, we got our boy Black Rose, Herald, Entis, Beatrice, Leerlusk Assembled Nightingale, double Moy Beta, one Downer, one double A Zeus. Then we got Link Karibo, Herald of Mirage Light, Phoenix, Apo, Boral, and Underworld Goddess. Now, I want to just take a second here to talk about a few key things that kind of stood out to me. So, first and foremost, we're not playing IP anymore, and I understand why, right? Because, you know, we've got the Mirage Lights, and that's sufficient. We're not playing as many targets to go into with it. But, you know, did you ever miss the IP Masquerade in the extra?
Not at all, because I'm always gonna go Vanity Turbo.
Right.
Then I don't need Masquerena because I'm not gonna lick away my my ruler, right? If they drop it and I cannot stop it, or if they Dark Ruler, at the point where they Dark Ruler your Masquerena is the exact same scenario, so there's no point. It's actually better to have Mirage. If they kill it, you +2, right? And it serves as a really good negation. Most people forget it. Most people only focus on the part where you can add 2 from grave. They always forget about the negation. So yeah, I took out the Masquerena and the Unicorn Access Code package because I feel like it's very efficient to go together, and if you're not gonna play it, I might as well go OTK. So I went back to War Sword. One thing I forgot to mention: Underworld. I think it's almost gonna be a must in all my future Drytron build. It outsports so well. No one ever sees it coming, and it's a universal out to Punisher, the Synchro 11 that it's basically like a huge arrival, right?
Right.
I played quite a few out of Mister. I wasn't expecting that.
I hate that deck.
And also against a yeah, and also against Despia. A lot of times I actually link up their Merge and then just Dark Ruler their field and start beating over them. It's really good too. But throughout the event, I actually didn't play that many Despia. I played a bunch of Flunder, and I ate a total of 17 dimensional shifters in 3 events. 17. I counted every single fucking one of them.
I can't believe my man's out here counting shifters. It's like, how many times did you get pegged? Like, that's what we're saying here. Like, Jesus Christmas.
It's like, how many times I got raped, How many times I had to, like, sit on a Foucault
we don't say that. We don't say the R word. Sorry, bro. I'm going to have to cut that part. So I'm just going to put this in as a reminder to cut that part for me. But
yeah. But I think the best play I made was when they shifted me, I would make Nightingale in defense and then Mystic Mine myself and then pass turn. So against Flunder, the moment they summon the second monster, they cannot even attempt to effect. And that leaves them vulnerable to getting Zeus. So a lot of them decides to either not summon anything or summon one monster and pop the Mystic Mine during end phase, right? And both way it worked for me because I play so many field spells and prosperities. And literally like after Shifter, I just go Nightingale attack directly Zeus and I win. So it was really good win con. Like it was on the spot when I decided to make Nightingale in defense and then Mystic Mine myself. That worked really well against Flunder, because it pressured them a lot. I'm not sure if I would play Barone. In this, at least in the Vanity build, I wouldn't, because Kills by Cure is like not that nice of an extender in this thing.
No, definitely not. And you don't really want to jack up your fairy count like that in this particular build.
Yeah.
You want to be very strategic in what you're playing. And I want to flag, too, you're playing the Ida 10. You played the Ida 10 on every list. When I've been playing Vanities, Drytron recently, I've not been playing Ida 10. How vital was it to your strategy? If you're trying to convince me, should I be playing Ida 10? What are your thoughts?
So, personally, my concept was Vanity build. It's a lock, and you want to kill them fast with link climbing, right? And there's no better way to link climb than Ida 10 in Drytron. And a lot of times, I always want to keep one Bent 10 in grave, so I can revive it. So a lot of times, banishing the Ida 10 for Natasha is actually really good. And I think there was like 4 or 5 times where I actually stole 3 monsters in one turn.
Oh yeah.
So having that one extra out of 10 actually mattered.
Okay, that's all I needed to hear. I think I'm gonna test this list card for card. And on that note, guys, I think we're gonna bring this to a close. Again, huge shout out and thank you to the man, the myth, the legend, fellow Drykage GX, Jordi Wang, the king, topped not 1, not 2, but 3 events across the pond, including winning one of the events. Am I right? You won the last one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, holy smokes, this guy is absolutely goated, dude. He is a fellow inspiration for all Drytron duelists. Look no further than this man, bro. Shout out to his team again. What's your team's name, brother? Your current one?
Team Eternity.
Got it. Shout out to them and former team Purple Haze. I know them pretty well. Yeah. And yeah, guys, Angel 07 Demon card, Mystic Mind Demon card. Without further ado, Logan JYA sign off. Have a great day. I will see you chumps later. Don't forget to smash that like. Peace.